Hi, hello. My name is a dumbass because I messed up the audio again.
My name is Hopeless Romantic, who wishes she were high.
You can have the rest of my pina colada.
It's not the same.
But you can have it. Does
Okay.
it help at all? Hi, hello. My name is Janine.
My name, you ask me, is death, destruction, decay, kangaroo courts, and candy canes, and Caitlin.
Do you remember whenever you said you weren't dramatic?
I'm not. I feel the way I feel.
So this is Caitlin.
Hi.
I'm Janine.
Hi.
We're the Real Lady Killers.
Hi. If you love pina coladas, then like us down below and subscribe.
So today we are talking about the Silent Twins.
I've heard this, I think, before.
You have, because I messed up. But it's okay. We're going to go through this really quickly, okay? Okay. So on April 11th, 1963.
But I made some funny jokes before.
You did. We'll make them again.
I
okay?
can't just make them again. It's not as funny
Try
the
it.
second time. No, that's not how comedy works.
So the twins, June and Jennifer Gibbons, were born in Aden, to parents Gloria and Aubrey Gibbons, who were from the Caribbean. Caribbean. So Caribbean or Caribbean, your choice. The Caribbean nation of Barbados, shortly after which the family immigrated to Haverford West in Wales.
Haverford West in Wales.
The sisters were inseparable in their, they had their own kind of language, which was very sped up English, so it made it very hard to understand them.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Was that fast?
Oh, well, imagine as I'm pacing the pews of a church door.
Oh, well, imagine as I'm pacing the trees of a church corridor and I cannot help but hear, but can I hear
the exchange of words. I love you.
What a beautiful wedding.
What a beautiful
wedding. To the waiter.
Oh, yes, but what a shame the poor quiz read his heart. I shame it happy forever.
Goes in the goddamn new. And then when we're separated, we look like this.
So, as the only black children in the community... I did it!
It's a kiki!
I keep on saying community. Kiki.
It's a kiki!
Communikiki.
It's a kai-kai!
It's like a community kiki. A communikiki. It's not a communikai-kai. It's a communikiki. So
it could be a communikai-kai. You don't need to be.
But not in this
exclusive.
instance.
It could be. You don't know what's happening in that communikai-kai.
Okay, sure. So as the only black children in the communikiki, they were ostracized at school, and this proved to be very traumatic for the both of them, which may have contributed to their growing sense of isolation.
Suck it up.
And they were teased about their race a lot.
Oh, I can't say suck it up there.
You can't. So they were traumatized, and they were definitely teased about their race. And so much that their school would let them out of class a little bit early to avoid being harassed and bullied on their way home. And their language became even more idiosyncratic at the time. Soon it was unintelligible to others, including their family. They were also known for mirroring each other's movements and behaviors, even finishing each other's sentences. Tears in my eyes. You're an asshole. I can't deal with this. Is things that my brother used to do. Copy whatever you're doing just to annoy you.
I feel distant from you, so I'm catatonic.
So they would finish the actions and sentences and movements that the other one had started, which is I guess somewhat normal for twins who are in sync at that kind of way. They would finish each other's sentences and movements. But by the age 11, the girls had begun walking
in sync around town. We're finishing each other's
sandwiches.
Oh my god, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Can't. So they would walk around town, and be like shining twins, exactly in sync with one another. And then when anyone would stare at them because they were being creepy, they'd stop and just stare at the people until the people would look away and walk away. they just like stop and freeze and stare at them. Eventually, the twins spoke to no one except for each other and sometimes their younger sister Rose.
Yes.
Spoiler alert: Jennifer does pass away. So after Jennifer passed, June opened up about how the girls ended up alienating themselves by speaking their own language. And like I was saying before, the girls spoke up a sped up version of English accompanied by synchronized gestures. So their language was like kind of a mixture of like their sped up English as well as their like hand gestures. While this started out as a game, it went on for so long that both girls felt the secret language trapped and isolated
That's
them.
how I honestly feel about our secret language. Coming out of my kitchen, I've been doing just fine. Gotta be there because I want it all. I was started out like a kiss. How did it end up like this? It was only a kiss.
Okay, so we can relate, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because I also...
And you were born 10 minutes before me?
I was born maybe 10 months before you.
Okay, close enough. So we're seeing some parallels here. Okay, while June and
you were born in 1997, right?
Yeah.
More than 10 months then.
When were you born?
October 18th.
October 18th, 96. So that's like a solid 13 months. 13
Lucky
months.
13.
Okay, well that's creepy too. So while June and Jennifer were born only 10 minutes apart, this did not stop Jennifer from viewing June as the older, stronger sibling.
She's like, I got all the power in those 10 minutes. Yeah.
So this is what June said. So I know it's kind of hard to differentiate June and Jennifer. June is the older one. Jennifer is the younger one.
Were they identical?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I didn't know if you actually said
No, it's all right. Yeah, they were identical. I didn't say it, but they were. So June said this, so just remember this, in one of her diary entries. We are both holding each other back. There is a murderous gleam in her eye. Dear Lord, I am scared of her. She is not normal. She is having a nervous breakdown. Someone is driving her insane. It is me.
Again, I think it's so interesting that, like, the whole, like, I'm scared of her. And then also, like, the thing that's so scary about her is her going insane. And it's, like, you're admitting it's your fault.
Yeah. She's like, she's going insane and it's my fault. And this was, like, they were young, even when she's realizing this.
So weird.
So when the twins turned 14, a succession of therapists tried unsuccessfully to communicate with others. And they were even sent to separate boarding schools in an attempt to get them to, like, coming out of their cage, and they've been doing just fine. You know, like...
Gotta be...
Damn, yeah. Danged. So they're trying to, like, get them to come out of them shelves. Trying to get them to come out of their shells by putting them apart, but it just really made it worse. Mm-hmm. They became completely catatonic and completely withdrawn when they were apart. Just completely, like, people would say terrifying. They were, like, zombie-like. That's terrifying. At age 16, Jennifer left her boarding school and June left hers, and the sisters were reunited after an almost 2 year separation.
And they were just catatonic the entire time.
Yeah, they were just like, I mean, that was like 2 years.
That's 2 whole years.
And they were just completely unresponsive. They didn't talk to anyone. Like, literally, that's why they're called the silent twins. They didn't talk to anyone besides each other.
That's terrifying,
I know. When they were returned home to their parents and siblings, they became even more reclusive, and they spent, like, all their time in their shared bedroom just completely, like, to themselves. They would talk to their younger sister, Rose, a little bit. Mm-hmm. But they didn't talk to anyone else besides each other. The parents had to, like, push mail underneath the door for them and leave food for them outside their door. And sometimes leave notes and stuff. And then they would also, like, write their own notes and leave it outside the door for their parents.
I'm telling you, I swear this is just a ruse for, like, teenagers who are like, I want to talk to my mom.
It's just like I just gotta get out of this town. Like, my parents don't understand me.
Pizza, am I right? I just want to get out.
I just want to get out of this town.
Pizza and beer.
And drinks in Malibu, probably. During this time, the family reportedly heard talking, laughing, or fighting on occasion. However, they rarely ever saw the two of them. And sometimes they just spent large amounts of time locked away in their room while writing rather dark and sinister fictional stories. A hobby which they would continue in later years. They would eventually get some, like, they would publish novels and get, like, a little fanfare. Yeah. Which I will get to. They sent away for mail order course in creative writing, and each wrote several novels, set primarily in the United States and Malibu, California, for whatever reason. These stories involve young men and women who exhibit strange and often criminal behavior.
So they're not even from Malibu, right? Like,
no, they live in Wales. Like, I don't know. I don't think they had ever been to America.
I wonder if they want to go to America.
Probably.
Like, that's a thing.
Probably. Because they like, pretty much all set place in California.
Because that's, like, what I would have done as a kid. Is, like, placed it in a place that's aspirational for me.
That I want to be in. Yeah, that's fair. In June's Pepsi Cola addict, the high school hero is seduced by a teacher,
Hot.
then sent away to a reformatory.
Hot.
I cannot talk. A reformatory where a homosexual guard makes a play for him. And then in Jennifer's, the pugilist, a physician is so eager to save his child's life that he kills the family dog to obtain its heart for a transplant. The dog's spirit then lives in...
Would that work, though? I don't feel like a dog... I just don't feel like
I think it's a little sci-fi.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't believe that it could really happen.
The dog's spirit lives on in the child and ultimately has its revenge against the father. So I don't think it's going on...
rough, daddy-o. Murder.
Death. Okay.
Dead.
Jennifer also wrote Discomania, the story of a young woman who discovers that the atmosphere of a local disco incites patrons to insane violence.
Same. Mia Barbarella.
Yes! The novels were published by a self-publishing press called New Horizons, and they made many attempts to sell short stories to the magazines, but were unsuccessful, probably because they seem very scary and terrifying.
How do you have a conference call with them? You can't.
No, because they don't talk, yeah. So another pastime they had was for them to play with dolls.
Same.
And they would also kind of make up their own plays for themselves and like perform for themselves and the younger sister Rose.
Cute.
And they would like
very Little Women of them.
Right. And they would also like with their dolls, they would make plays and stories with them. They would construct elaborate fantasy worlds and write biographies for them, the dolls, morbidly including even the specific date and method of death for each doll.
Choking on a toothbrush.
Yes.
Alice. Intentional.
On April 26th.
Choked on a friggin' toothbrush. She's an idiot.
During this tense time, the two twins also began to exhibit a rather dark side to their relationship, exhibiting signs that they had a decidedly love-hate relationship.
Okay.
Sometimes inseparable, and then other times fighting so violently that they would throttle, scratch, and like choke and strangle each other.
Okay.
The intense bond between June and Jennifer was not always a good one, like I said. They had a lot of disdain for each other and wrote disturbing diary entries, which I touched on earlier, about the relationship. June once wrote that her sister was driving her insane, and that she feared her greatly, which was the previous quote that I said. Jennifer described June as her shadow. So June wrote about Jennifer, that Jennifer looked like she was going to kill her, right? So this is what Jennifer writes in her diary entry.
She's like, I am indeed planning to kill.
We have become fatal enemies in each other's eyes. We feel the irritating, deadly rays come out of our bodies, stinging each other's skin. Beautiful. Okay, edgelord. I say to myself,
stinging each other's skin.
The rays coming out of their skin.
I say to myself, can I get rid of my own shadow? Impossible? Or not possible? What? Impossible or not possible mean the same thing.
Exactly. Impossible or not possible. Without my shadow, would I die? Without my shadow, would I gain life, be free or left to die? Without my shadow, which I identify with the face of misery, deception, murder.
But my point is, or is silly there.
It is a little bit weird, but they don't talk to anyone. So, I mean, who am I to say that they should have perfect grammar?
I'm just like, that sounds like something you're doing because you're like poetry. Not because it actually is like good writing.
Right. No, that's fair. Because edgy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. However, these terrifying episodes always soon passed by, and they would be the best of buddies again, jobbing away in their like kind of weird alien, half slang, half English, half gesture language.
Yeah.
During this time, they would speak to no one and would not even interact with their own parents or other siblings, like I said, with Rose, but not their parents. It was around this time of self-imposed exile within their room and growing animosity towards each other that they began to get rather unruly.
Ooh, unruly!
What a nice word. After leaving school, the girls became increasingly violent and unpredictable.
Good.
They began drinking heavily,
Same.
using marijuana,
Never.
Not once. Not Caitlin. The twins even attempted to kill one another. June once tried to drown Jennifer in a local river, and Jennifer
Same.
tried to strangle June with a radio cord. I know that they were also seen a couple times, like, just like choking each other.
Same, me and you.
Yeah. This type of behavior is ultimately what led to the pair being institutionalized.
Hot.
Also, so in October of 1981, June and Jennifer burned down a tractor store together.
Arson!
And caused $200,000 worth of damage.
Arson!
And this is in 1981, so this is probably even more money now with
it'd be
inflation.
like $2 million.
Yeah, a lot of money. The girls committed a number of crimes, including arson, which led to being admitted to the Broadmoor Hospital, which was a high-security mental health hospital. So things get super creepy at this point. They get worse. Very creepy. So at first it's like some kind of creepy twins who kind of only talk to themselves, and it's probably very not healthy. But now it gets just like very creepy. So they arrive and to the hospital, and they had like all of the experts and all of the like psychiatrists and psychologists like completely stumped because no one had ever seen anything like them. They were completely unresponsive and lethargic and would just like freak out if anyone like tried to separate them. And not long after they arrived, June went into a catatonic state and tried to commit suicide, and Jennifer angrily lashed out at a nurse in an animalistic rage.
Jeez.
Even when they did finally try to communicate with the nurses and the people in the hospital, they still spoke in their like gibberish language.
Whoa.
So they couldn't like, even when they were trying to communicate with people, they couldn't because they spoke their own language, and that was pretty much it. During their time here, there were many anomalies with the twins. These things get spooky. Sometimes they would take turns, like one of them would eat and one of them would starve themselves, and then it would switch. So then one of them would starve themselves
Without
and
them
the
being
other
in
one
the same
would eat.
place.
Yeah.
So they would just know.
Yeah. And then like even more spooky, like when they were in separate cells, and like completely different areas of the hospital. Nurses and doctors would often like come into their cells and find them frozen into weird poses, like very distinctive and bizarre ones that were exactly the same as the other twin in their own cell. So they'd be like frozen in weird poses.
Go see the pose Jason's in right now.
That'd be so creepy. We go in the other room and Jason's just... That would be so creepy. So they'd be like in the same poses, but like in completely different parts of the hospital, like, but at the same time. Even though they had like no contact with each other. And they also had like an uncanny ability to know what each other is feeling or thinking.
Weird.
Right. This would go on for 12 years, during which time they apparently became convinced that they were never going to live a normal life until one of them died. Because they were so attached.
How do you pick which one?
They remained there for 14 years in the hospital. June later blamed this lengthy sentence on their selective muteness. Quoted, juvenile delinquents get 2 years in prison. We got 12 years of hell because we didn't speak. We lost hope, really. I wrote a letter to the Queen asking her to help get us out, but we were trapped.
Because that would be Lizzie, the current one.
Lizzie? Queen Elizabeth? Lizzie?
Queen Liz.
Hey, Queen Liz, help me out.
Queen Bethy.
Placed on high doses of antipsychotic medications, they found themselves unable to concentrate. And Jennifer apparently developed tardive dyskinesia, a neurological disorder resulting in involuntary and repetitive moments, so like tics. Their medications were apparently adjusted sufficiently to allow them to continue the copious diaries they had begun in 1980.
Interesting.
And they were able to join the hospital choir, but they lost interest in creative writing, which is
what do you do in the hospital choir when you can't even speak?
I guess they could sing. Like, I mean, their own way. I feel like eventually they would start to communicate with others. They just sing at a faster
tempo than everyone else. They're just all like, coming out of my cage and I'm doing just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all. It started out like a kiss on and I'm like this. It was only a kiss. It was only a kiss.
That was probably it. I do think that they did start to kind of communicate a little bit with others, but not like they wouldn't open up to other people. They were there for 12 years, so I assume they did kind of like...
You're assuming a lot.
I'm assuming a lot. They
wouldn't even talk to their own family.
I know, but they don't really go into the specifics of how they joined the choir. But they lost interest in creative writing because they couldn't concentrate with their antipsychotic medication.
That makes sense.
It was during their time at the Broadmoor Hospital that they would catch the attention of a London Sunday Times reporter, Marjorie Wallace, who would spend a good amount of time forming a bond with the girls, investigating their case, as well as bringing this strange story to public awareness. They did actually kind of become friends with Marjorie.
Oh.
Like, they actually opened up to her and talked to her and communicated with her. After countless interviews and combing through their diaries and writings, Wallace would claim that the two girls felt that they needed to sever their strange bond in order to be free.
That's scary.
To end this, they would allegedly make a pact in which one of them would sacrifice herself so the other one could become unfettered from their psychic link, because they were so weirdly connected.
That is so sad and very terrifying.
So it was like one of them had to die to get out of the abnormal behavior and the never-ending cycle of loving and loathing each other, like they're back and forth. When Marjorie Wallace visited the girls at Broadmoor for an interview, they had to be carried in by guards because they were, again, catatonic, and they were carried in like planks, like a coffin, like on the guards' shoulders. When they sat down, they cast their eyes to the floor, avoiding eye contact. It was only when Wallace asked about the girls' writing that they finally perked up and talked.
So that was like the secret, just be like, hey, I hear you're right.
I guess
and
so.
And they were like, well, that sounds just like every person I know in Austin. He's like, well, you heard I was a writer. I am indeed a writer. Hello, I'm a writer.
I'm artsy. It's like
I do writing.
It's like guys when they're like completely like not involved in anything, but then as soon as you're like, oh, you like this, they're completely self-involved and only want to talk about that.
Hi.
So, yeah, she kind of broke down their walls by like getting them to talk about their like writing and stuff like that.
So strange, but also makes sense. But.
Right. Wallace pursued the interview because the Gibbons sisters' story intrigued her. Sent to the maximum security institution at such a young age, Wallace reviewed the sentence as alarming. It was like condemning young children to live with rapists and murderers.
Yeah, it's terrifying when you committed arson.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Right. Although June and Jennifer were initially withdrawn, they eventually developed a friendship with Wallace, which is what I said. According to Wallace, the girls had a long-standing agreement that if one of them died, the other must live a normal life and begin to speak and just like live.
I don't know how you have a normal life after this.
I know. During their stay at the hospital, they began to believe that it was necessary for one of them to die. And after much discussion, Jennifer agreed to make the sacrifice for her life.
June's the one that Jennifer wants to, like, June is the older one, yes?
Yeah. June is the one, June is the one who could tell that Jennifer was, like, wanted her to die.
Wait, June is the one that knew that Jennifer wanted her to die?
Yeah.
But then Jennifer kills herself?
Yeah. She doesn't kill herself.
No, but I mean, she decides she wants to die?
Yeah. So this is very, very creepy.
Okay.
In March of 1993, Marjorie visited the Broadmoor Hospital to interview the sisters, who were about to be transferred to the Caswell Clinic, a lower security institution in Wales, after 12 years in this high security institution. While drinking tea, Jennifer calmly stated that she had decided to die so that June could live a normal life. The twins were transferred to Broadmoor. The twins were transferred from Broadmoor to Caswell. And on arrival, Jennifer could not be aroused.
That's weird.
So basically what happened was they were in the car on the way there. And Jennifer leaned her head into June's lap and passed out with her eyes open. Yes. She was taken to the hospital where she died soon after of acute myocarditis, which is a sudden inflammation.
Myocardia, yeah.
Yeah, myocardia, which was like a sudden inflammation of the heart. There was no evidence of drugs or poison in her system, and her death remains a mystery.
That's wild.
And she was like in any other sense, like in good health.
How old is she at this point?
29?
Like, Jesus. Mm-hmm. That's young for a myocardia.
Yeah. June revealed that Jennifer had been acting strangely for about a day before their release. Her speech had begun slurring, and she had said that she was dying. On the trip to Caswell, I said this, she had slept in June's lap with her eyes open. On a visit a few days later, Wallace recounted that June was in a strange mood. She said, "I'm free at last, liberated, and at last Jennifer has given up her life for me."
And at last. Yeah, it's like impatient.
I know.
It's like, well, finally.
I know.
You did it.
You're like, about fucking time. According to Wallace, the girls, then 29, had made a pact. In an interview with NPR, Wallace relayed what the sisters told her. Jennifer has got to die because they said the day that they left Broadmoor, the day that they were free from the secure hospital, one of them would have to give up their life to really enable the other one to be free. After Jennifer's death, June gave interviews with Harper's Bazaar and The Guardian. By 2008, she was living quietly and independently near her parents in West Wales. She no longer is monitored by psychiatric services and has been accepted by her community and sought to put the past behind her.
I wonder if this is like psychotic hysteria, like where you have like folie à deux.
It could be totally that.
Like it feels like folie à deux, where
Yeah.
it's all like one person has a delusion and that they feed into that delusion to the other person, and then like you're joined in this like awful like cyclic delusion. I feel like that happens a lot with siblings and twins.
Yeah.
Like,
I could see how it would be even amplified more since they were twins and so close and they had been through trauma together.
like this feels psychological. This feels like folie
Yeah,
à
oh
deux.
no, it's super crazy. She did also end up like after she
I mean, there's weird other stuff here that doesn't quite make sense in a psychological standpoint even, but like
it's kind of like the end of The Notebook where they both just decide to die together. It's kind of like I
they
should
don't
just
die at the end of The Notebook.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That's the whole thing. It's like she remembers and they
I thought they just sleep.
No. That was their thing. Is that they loved each other and
I'm
like
Googling
and
this.
and she didn't want to forget him and so they die. Like
I swear they don't die. No, you're right. They pass away.
they pass away together. But like
I thought they were just sleeping. It's not clear
you're a
that
dumb
they're
bitch.
dead.
They're dead. Like that's the whole thing. Is like that's why it's so like beautiful. Is because they
I thought
die
it was
together.
just like, oh, they fall asleep together and it's sweet.
No.
That's not cute. I wouldn't want to die.
Well, so they didn't have to live without each other.
Who cares?
Okay.
No man matters that much.
You're right. A 2016 interview with her sister Greta revealed that the family had been deeply troubled by the girl's incarceration.
Wait, which
Sorry,
sister,
June.
Greta?
June. I think it's one of her older sisters.
Okay.
Like they talked to her younger sister Rose, but like they had other siblings.
Okay.
So one of their sisters, Greta, revealed that the family had been deeply troubled. You're like, who's Greta again? She blamed Broadmoor for ruining their lives and for neglecting Jennifer's death.
Okay, that's fair.
She wanted to file a lawsuit against Broadmoor, but Aubrey and Gloria refused, saying they would not bring Jennifer back.
My thing is, like, also, like, yeah, how do you know Jennifer didn't have, like, a heart condition? Like, she easily could have. And, like, it just wouldn't have been monitored.
Yeah. Wallace explained how June had to reconcile her terrible grief and the freedom that Jennifer had given her. So she was, like, very sad, but also, like, wow, I feel very free now. June reportedly visits her sister's grave every week, and she continues to take medication for what doctors believe to be schizophrenia.
That seems strange.
And she does, like
schizophrenia.
Yeah. There was an article I read that she does take, like, odd jobs around town. Like, she does, like, contribute. She doesn't get out much, is from what I hear. I don't know
I guess
her.
it'd be hard after that life.
Yeah.
Like that.
Jennifer may have sacrificed her life so that June could fulfill her dreams and live more normally, yet none of June's dreams have really come to fruition. In an interview, June explained why she had let go of her formal hopes and dreams, saying, I don't see the point in writing books now. I can communicate by talking now, can't I?
Well, I can talk too, and I want to be a writer. I don't really see what they have anything to do with each other.
It's fine.
Well, I get it, but...
Yeah. But I guess that she's saying that the reason why they wrote so much before was because they couldn't communicate, so they wrote stories instead.
I get it. I'm just like, they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just interesting.
After Jennifer's passing, June wrote that she was hysterical with grief. She expressed her sorrow and loss through a poem, which she penned for her twin.
These are real edgelords.
Yes. Jennifer's headstone is engraved with a poem. We once were two. We two made one. We no more two. Through life be one. Rest in peace.
That's creepy.
That's very creepy.
I don't like that.
No. To this day, the death remains a mystery, and Wallace has said of it and June's adjustment to it thus. I've spent many years now wondering about the mystery of Jennifer's death. Now, I don't think there's really an explanation for that except Jennifer willing herself to die. After I learned about Jennifer's death...
Or having a heart condition, but okay.
After I learned about Jennifer's death, it was about 2 or 3 days later, I went down to visit June, and I found her surprisingly intact, really, and very prepared to talk. She spoke very clearly about the conflict between her terrible grief at losing the person closest to her life and the freedom that Jennifer had given her. So Jennifer said, would you go to Haverford West and would you fly a banner over Haverford West and say that June is fit and well and last to come into her own? So there was a few days later, both grieving and mourning, and at the same time saying Jennifer gave up her life for me, and now I have to go on and live life for the both of us.
That's so weird for me because I'm really tempted to believe a more like normal explanation here where it's like this is folly ado and that these people have fed into a delusion shared by them, which I do believe in twin connections, so I think there's like something else there. But like I don't know
either.
and then my thing is like I think it might have just been an undiagnosed heart condition and she knew she was getting sick and she was like,
and this was the time that they had been kind of waiting for.
Yeah.
So I mean they could have known beforehand that like she was dying anyways.
Like, I have a heart condition, I can feel it. Like I can feel my heart like skip beats and stuff like that. Yeah.
Jason has AFib and I can feel his heart skipping beats. If I'm like on his shoulder or something, I can literally hear his heart skipping beats.
So it's like you can know, and if it's getting bad, I'm sure you'd feel it.
Yeah, you know.
So I don't know, like,
or she just willed herself to die, like the end of The Notebook. I mean, well, I think you'd be surprised, and I think we'd all be surprised at what the power we have over our own abilities. I
think that's true.
Because I mean, like, well, it kind of reminds me, and this is completely different, but it kind of reminds me of how when women sometimes want so badly to be pregnant that they'll have this false pregnancies. Start getting bloated, they'll have false pregnancies that they're not pregnant at all, but they'll like their boobs will get sore, like they'll get bloated, they'll like produce those hormones.
Die and they just like walk off and like they decide like now is the time.
Yeah, or they know they're gonna die or whatever. Yeah. It's like it could be something like that, like because I don't think it's like supernatural or paranormal or anything.
But there is something weird there. I'm not blowing that off at all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is. And like twin studies are so fascinating to me because of how like unknown the realm of being like a twin is.
Yeah, because it's like the creepiest thing is that they would be doing the same things and they would know what each other is doing when they're in completely separate parts.
I can't explain
it's just
that.
it's like a telepathic connection that you can't explain.
Yeah, I can't explain that
is in itself a little paranormal, which might be more like normal than we think with twins, but like.
But I think that's what the whole thing is. Like paranormal is the normal way the universe works. It's just the stuff we haven't. Figured out yet. Like,
well, it's like
if ghosts exist, they're still normal. You know, it's just weird to us because we don't understand it.
It could just be like, if you know someone so well, you can. I believe in like energies and stuff. Like you can pick up on people's energies and like it's kind of like those studies that they do with plants, where if you like verbally abuse them, they'll wilt, and but if you like build them up, like they'll like flourish. And so I do think that like. Energies that you give off in that sense do have some merit.
I agree.
And it's kind of like, and it would be completely different because it's not a sibling or even a twin, but like people you're really close to, like say like me and Jason, I can immediately tell if something's wrong, and I think vice versa, because we know each other so well that I can tell like even just by the way he's sitting or like his tone of voice, not even just his tone of voice, but his like energy that he's giving off that something's wrong just by sitting next to him.
And so if you're so close, you wouldn't have to be next to each other.
Exactly. You can just like
tell.
It's kind of like spidey senses. Like you could just be able to tell. Like I think we don't give enough credit to like humans and our like ability to pick intuition and things like that, and how far that scope actually goes, you know?
No, sometimes I have like weird gut feelings about family where I'm like, oh, I should contact them because like something feels off, and like often I'm right.
Yeah. There's also, I could tell a story about, so my mom used to live in China, and while she was in China, my grandparents still lived here in Texas. And there was this one time where my mom got in a bike crash, like a pretty bad bike crash, and my grandma had a dream about it. And she woke up the next morning, and was like, something's wrong with Amy.
Oh my God.
She was like, something's really bad with Amy, like something went on, and she wrote her, and turned out that day, and it was like, you know, like that moment she had like gotten in a bike crash. Yeah, so it's like that's like across the world. So it's like that's wild. Really don't give enough merit to like human intuition.
Oh, like my mom knew when her grandmother died. Like she just had a feeling. She was like, my grandmother's dead.
Yeah.
And like I kind of knew when my grandpa died. I had like a weird like gut like
like something's wrong.
And then my parents texted me and I was like, oh.
Yeah. And I don't even think that's really paranormal. Like, I think that is just,
instinct.
like, I think it's just human instinct that we don't give enough credit to.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So.
Wow, that was good.
Yeah. So that's the Silent Twins. And there's a bunch of like really cool, Marjorie writes a book on them. She did a lot of cool like interviews with them and stuff. So like I would, if you're interested, I would definitely look into like.
We'll leave some links down below, I think, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you dug that, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification icon, leave a comment below if you're feeling like it, and follow all of our social medias, which are listed down below in the descriptions.
Our camera's about to die.
We're gonna let it happen.
You know what to do.
Do it! Bye!